Boy, have we got a treat for you today. Bike has to come back in because blew a tire. Had to stuff it in the back of a cab to get it home, which wasn't cheap. You see a little bit better on this side. Yeah, she flat. Tried pumping it up. Didn't work. There's a hole in there big enough that won't hold air no more. So that means I have to take batteries off. I have to trace a wire. Disconnect it from the system. I have to disconnect the brakes. I have to pull the chain off on this side. Then I got to take the whole back wheel off. Yeah. So I got to change the tire and tube. Since I'm having the bike, gonna have a back wheel off anyway. I've got a new set of brake pads. Well, I've got new brake pads for the whole thing, front and back. So I'll be doing that too. Okay, I'll get everything out. We'll get started. So getting in the stand here. Try to find a spot to put you. You can see what's going on. Not the easiest task. Let's see. Gotta take these 4 bolts out. 6 bolts actually. Pop the whole seat off. I got one of the battery packs up on the front here to weigh it down so that so it doesn't try and stand up on itself like that. But yeah, get that seat out and I'll find the wire to disconnect. So you can take the motor off. There we go. I don't like this one. I have a preference when it comes to ratchet handles. This one here, instead of having to push and turn everything, it's just got a switch for forward and back. Makes life easier. They don't make them like that no more. Apparently they haven't in a long time and I still don't know why. Of course, the good thing about this seat pan being an actual pan, so I can just drop all the bolts in the center of it. Not worried about losing them. As I was expecting to do a bunch more cleaning and restoration, the rest of those tools today. There's a little change of pace. But you're never expecting it when there's an emergency. Luckily, this being a Friday, I've got until Monday to get this done, so it's ready. I also believe I'm lucky if I have tires and tubes to fit it. I believe I do. Now that those are out, one more thing I need to do. That breaker has to be disconnected. That's easy. Since the batteries are out of it, all the capacitor is drained. Just pop that out. Now I can pull the seat pan. So like that, pull the wires out of it. Disconnect that switch. Set it down to do that. Relatively easy. Considering just to change a tire or change an inner tube, you got to take off the batteries, you got to take off the seat, you got to disconnect the motor, you got to disconnect the brakes. There's so much involved in doing that for these things. That's the only downside to a hub motor, is if you got to work on it, you're kind of fucked. So now we got to find a wire. What wires? The wires that come off of the motor. I don't know how well I can show you this, but this wire here comes off of the motor. Goes down there, does a 90. Does that 90, comes up here, goes along here, and it'll connect here, I believe. So I'm going to check and make sure that's the right one. So it should be, but I'll check and make sure that's the right one. Then I'll disconnect it. Other difficulty with dealing with this I forgot to mention. Because we have to pull the wheel off entirely and the wire don't disconnect from the wheel, that means we got to cut all of these zip ties and then replace them when we put it back together. So I'll cut all the zip ties, disconnect the wires in the box here. That 3-phase, that's for the motor. So yeah, I'll cut all the zip ties. I'll disconnect the wires. I'll peel everything back out to the end. Then we'll get on the next part. So we'll get that done, then show you what happens next. Alright, got all the zip ties cut. Now, I label my wires when I connect and disconnect, so I'll disconnect those. The other part of this, see, this goes to power and to the Hall effect sensor. These 5 wires go straight to the controller. So yeah, that's easy enough to pop off, but I'll pop that off, I'll unscrew those, and I'll peel the wire out and show you what happens next. There's a mistake that a lot of people make when they're disconnecting these. These are not ring connectors. Okay, they're a fork. You don't have to take this bolt all the way out. A lot of people, they'll take the bolts out, they'll lose the bolts, or they'll scramble around to find them after the fact. You just turn it. Half a turn. It's loose enough to take the forks out. So that's ready. Let's peel that out. Goes down this side. Show you from above as I'm peeling it out. The manufacturers do not make this easy. You know, obviously, they don't want people working on things themselves. They want you to pay a mechanic to do it, just like anything else. Okay, this is going to be difficult. I'll show you when it's done. Step 1, collect underpants. All right, so that's all peeled out. Goes right up to the wheel. Next step, we got to deal with the brakes. There's a few different bolts to deal with to do that. I got to get you out of the stand to show you those. Down here, there's a couple of bolts which disconnect this whole brake assembly. This cable has to be undone too. There it is. I had to point the phone on my finger. But that bolt has to be undone to loosen the cable. Once that's done, these bolts down here have to be undone to release the brake assembly. Then we got to move on to the next bit. These here. So, put it where you can kind of see something. I have switch stands. This one's a little too tall. Oh wait, I forgot. It's actually adjustable now. I'm glad I fixed that, at least partly. Okay, get you in the stand again. Get screwdrivers and wrenches and stuff and start working. Had to break out another tool. Joys of old age. There we are. That's about as good as I can show you right there. So that's a 10 mil. You might notice I use these bars and long sockets a lot. It allows me to grip and turn it while I'm bending the handle back. Lets things go a little faster. Rather than trying to peel the cable back through this bolt again, I'll leave it in there. Just put a nut on the end of it, so we don't lose it. On this end, I might have to peel it out, but hopefully not. I just got to have it disconnected from the wheel and from the brake assembly. Yeah, I got to peel it out. Fuck. Loads of fun. Loads of fucking fun. That's going to make life interesting. At least it's not frayed. But I got to take that cap off the end. Easy trick. All this fucking standing up and kneeling back down reminds me of being in church when I was a kid. But anyway, snap that off, bolt comes off. Now we can peel the cable out. And take the spring off. Got to come all the way out. I'll leave that in place, that little bolt there, hollow bolt. Now, switch to an 8 mil socket on the bar, of course. We will undo brake assembly. Now, is there a nut on the back of that? Yes, there is. Of course there is. Can't be easy. Doesn't seem to be stuck yet. That's good. My finger's on the back of it holding the nut in place. It's good to know there's no washer in it. I don't think I needed a nut on the back of it. I think I went through a threaded piece and then there's a nut on the back of it too. Now, there we are. There's this whole piece. That bolts into this, in between, locks everything up. So the brakes are now disconnected. Next thing we got to do is that nut there. And a 10mm long socket fits. Good. Don't need to get any more tools. I can just keep going at this. These don't have to come all the way off. They just have to loosen. That should about do it. The other side will be the exact same, so I don't have to show you that. All right. Get you kind of centered on the screen there. Now, luckily, all these bolts and such don't have to come out all the way or come off all the way. So if these things were like torqued on, there you go, see everything's moving now. If these nuts, etc., were torqued on, yeah, that'd be a pain in the dick. But they're not. That's why there's two on there. It's a jam nut so they won't move and you don't have to torque them. So that's loosened up. That side's loosened up. I think that side's on backwards, I'm not sure. No, they're the right way. So it should be able to wiggle that hole forward now, which will be enough to get the chain off at the front. Once I can do that, I should be able to just take this whole thing back, drop chain off this end. Now we have the piece we need to work on. This fucking monstrosity. All right. I'm going to clear the table of all the other work I'm doing. Put this up there to work on. So I'll let you know when that's all set up. All right. So, point of note, where this wire comes out, that you always want that to be on top of where you're working. You never want to have the tire sitting or the wheel sitting on that. Even with this protection spring on it, that can bend and eventually crack. So you keep this on top. All right, so let's get this tube and tire off of here. Now I know I have tools for that somewhere. Oh, that'll do. You've seen me fight with tubes and tires before. The tire itself is fine, so we just need the tube out. So there. And, oh, there's another piece of wood over there I can use. I have proper tools for it, but I am not up for going around digging them out, so a couple of pieces of scrap wood will do fine. Press it in as deep as you can on this side, so that it's out as far as it'll go on this side. Use wood or plastic rather than metal, so it doesn't chance ripping anything. Once you get it started, it ain't all that difficult. Although it is difficult. A little less than it would otherwise be, that's all. I'm not going to say it's easy, because nothing is. But there are a lot of things that are worse. We'll get this off, see what size this tube is, and then replace it. And if you can't replace it, because I got a bunch of different tubes, but if you can't replace it, we'll repair it. If you can't repair it, we're fucked until I can go get a new one, which would be a long goddamn walk, since I won't have a bike to get me there and back. Oh, well. That's a problem. It's absolutely a problem. Yeah. Okay, so it doesn't seem to be a hole in the inner tube. Valve stem tore out of it. Or popped out of it. No, it tore. That's ripped. So yeah, perfectly good tube otherwise. Let's see what the numbers say on it. If I can find them. There we are. 18 by 2.5 over 2.7. Something in Chinese. And that's it. Well, let's see what these two tubes say on them. Granted, like most things, they don't say anything. You gotta look at them. It says Ralston. It says 16 by 2.5 over 3. So that's no good. And this one says 16 by 3. So I need an 18. Let's see what I got in the bucket. Eighteens. Do I have an 18? 20. No 18s. This one is a 20. So I need an 18. It's an odd size. That fucking sucks. Life ain't gonna get easier. I can't fit the 16 on there. And the 20 ain't gonna cut it. So I'll go to the back, see what else I have. If I have an 18. One can hope. Okay, so we're lucky I kept parts off of that ancient beast I had, previous version of this 2000 model, because we have 18s. But these are 18 by 2.25. These are 18 by 2.5. So, as you can see, they're a little thinner. However, that's for this tire. I have the 18 by 2.5 tires as well. Just got to clean the lint and dust off of them, swap that out, and then we'll be good. And we'll have another spare tube and another spare tire after that, and this will be another spare tire for the front. Okay, so let's peel this tire off the rest of the way. Start putting a new one on it. Then we can work on the brakes. It's the downside of this, just getting started. Once you're started, it's off. Still can't believe that, just tore right out. Pure Chinesium. So yeah, I'll clean these off. They're a little bit filthy. Clean that off, get everything set up, ready to go. You've seen me change a tire before. If not, you've seen it yourself. So yeah, once the tire's on there, I'll show you the next step. There's going to be some complications with this tire. I have to go to a specialty shop tomorrow and see if I can't find a solve for this problem. As it stands, it fits. Everything should work, but the head on my tire pump isn't low profile enough to fit in there. So I got to find that size of tube. Well, one of the sizes of tube, either to fit this tire or to fit the original tire, with what is it? This sort of angled valve stem instead of the straight one, just to make the whole thing work. This would be great, but it's 2 inches shorter than it should be. The other one would be great if the valve stem was still attached to it. So since we can't do that, and it's as far as we can get it, let's see if we can't do something about these brakes. Get that loose there. I don't know that we can, but we'll see if we can. Because I've got, as you can see, this is an older version of this. Older, simpler, works, and the brake pads in it are really good. So see if we can't get this piece off of here and replace it. Up you go. Everything out of the way. You'll notice because of this, none of it comes off the end, which is good. Nothing comes off the end, so we don't lose anything, nothing goes on in the wrong order. That's good. See what kind of condition that's in. Pretty similar. This might be in better shape. Pad a little thicker, a little thinner. I think it's about the same. So that's not the problem with the brakes. I have to tighten the cable. That's good to know. So get that done. But at least we had the option to check. Oh, come on, get in there. I know you fit. There you are. Little bugger. Well, since we can't do that, what else can we do? See, that points to the back of the bike, so it'll be that way. This points to the back of the bike, so it'll be that way. What other things can we do since we got this thing taken apart right now? Get that thread started, just to keep everything in place. Tightening the cable won't be a problem. That'll be easy. But the ride on that thing's not the best, and I know I could do the front brakes as well. Found these shocks. One of them's got a stuck bolt on one end of it, so I'll pull that apart. And quite possibly replace these ones with these ones. Give it a little more oomph, if we can. Yeah, something out of it that way. Other than that, like I said, I got to go to a specialty bicycle shop and see if I can't find an oddball tube. All right. I'll let you know if I make any progress. I'm making any progress on those shocks. To quote the professor, "Good news, everyone! Rather than having to buy an oddball-sized tube or a tube with a specifically angled valve, I found a bicycle shop in town here that has a pump with a very, very low-profile head on it. And it's probably cheaper than this one. Actually, it is cheaper than this one would have been. So, I will be able to get air in this tire. And tomorrow I can show you the rest of putting it together, hopefully. All right. Talk to you next time.